Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Shakayla. I create and share delicious plant-based recipes and inspiration. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm about to show y'all how to make the most delicious mushroom and walnut meat. Listen, I have fully become a mushroom and walnut meat girly. Anytime I want spaghetti, tacos, burritos, wraps, I'm putting mushroom and walnut meat inside of it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you all the ingredients you need to make the best mushroom and walnut meat, how to actually cook it, different ways to enjoy it, and I will also have a section in this video where I'm answering some of the frequently asked questions that I get whenever I post that I am eating mushroom and walnut meat. For example, if you have an allergy, I'll talk about that as well. So make sure you stay tuned, but without further ado, let's get into the video. So first up, this is everything that you'll need. I have some walnuts that have been soaking overnight in water, baby bella mushrooms, and mushrooms that have already been sliced, coconut aminos. For my seasonings, I have smoked paprika, I have garlic powder, and onion powder, as well as black pepper. And then the very last thing that you'll need, which, I mean, you can actually add more to this, but this is just for like the base of the mushroom and walnut meat. Again, I'll talk to you, give you some more details and cooking notes later in the video. And then I also have some sun-dried tomatoes as well as the sun-dried tomato oil. And so to start, I have the walnuts that have been soaking in water overnight. I'm just going to drain these and rinse them off. Next, we're just going to cut up our onion. This recipe will be linked in the description box as well. This is all that I will be using today. I'm actually going to do this in batches because I have a pretty small food processor. So I'm starting off with the mushrooms. I'm gonna add in those onions and then the garlic cloves. Now that we finished pulsing the mushrooms, onions, and garlic, we're gonna add it to a hot skillet. Now we're gonna add in the soaked walnuts as well as the sun-dried tomatoes and the sun-dried tomato oil. So the mushroom and walnut meat has been cooking down for a bit. Next, we're going to add in the seasonings. The seasonings I'll be using in this video are 100% optional. You can use your own seasonings. I also prefer to keep the flavors mild at first because I make a batch of this and I use it for a variety of dishes during the week. So again, if I were to add a bunch of taco seasoning to this, but I wanted to do spaghetti, I don't want my mushroom and walnut meat to taste like tacos. So that's why I say just keep it very neutral if you plan to use it in different dishes throughout the week. But we're just gonna add some basic seasonings, which are pretty universal in just about every dish that you'll possibly make with this. I'm gonna go in with some garlic powder, bit of smoked paprika, onion powder, the coconut aminos, black pepper. Like, it's already looking really good. Like, look at that. All right, and so now we're going to bake the mushroom and walnut meat. We'll have to check on it halfway through just to make sure it's not burning. All right, y'all, now we're having like a brief intermission. I'm drinking some kombucha. Now is a great time to talk about all the frequently asked questions that people have had when I've shared this mushroom and walnut meat recipe, and maybe even questions that you may have. But in case I don't answer the question that you have, please let me know. So one of the main questions that people ask is, what do I do if I'm allergic to nuts? I can't eat walnuts. What do I do? So I've seen recipes where people have used sunflower seeds in place of the walnuts in this recipe. I've also seen where people have done this using cauliflower. So they just grate up the cauliflower and then they add other vegetables like bell peppers as well. I'll link a recipe in the description box where they use sunflower seeds so that you can refer to it if you are allergic. The second most popular or the most frequently asked question is, I don't like mushrooms, I'm allergic to mushrooms, what can I use in its place? So I've only tried it this way, honestly. I've only tried it this way. So the suggestions that I'm giving you are what I would do if I were allergic to or didn't enjoy eating these certain items. So if I were allergic to mushrooms, I can't imagine being allergic to mushrooms. But if I were allergic to mushrooms, what would I do in its place? I would probably use maybe like some more onions. Again, add in the cauliflower, some carrots. You could try carrots, maybe boil them so that they get soft and then cook those up as well. Someone said that when they don't have mushrooms, they use tofu. Now, if you're not a fan of soy tofu, there is a such thing as pumpkin seed tofu that you can use in its place as well. Another question that I get from people is, how long do you let the walnuts soak? I typically let the walnuts soak overnight. I have seen suggestions and recommendations where people have said try boiling the walnuts and maybe it'll make them softer, but typically I just let mine soak overnight and I've never had an issue with it. The next question is the mushroom and walnut meat as soft as like a ground beef or like a ground chicken or ground turkey? And the answer is no. And honestly, the idea is not for this to be like that. It's to serve as a nutritious substitute and a plant-based substitute. So it's not as soft as like a ground beef or ground chicken, ground turkey, but I would say, you know, cooking it up with the mushrooms, the onions, cooking it on the stove and baking it, I have had great success with it. So yeah. Another question I get is, why do I bake it? You know, most recipes you see, they just like cook it on the stove. I like baking the mushroom and walnut meat, especially if I'm using it for tacos or something where I need like crumbles, because I feel like it dries it out a little bit. It doesn't make it like crunchy or hard, it just dries it out. I feel like it locks in those flavors. So that's the reason why I recommend baking it. I know that some people say like when you cook it on the stove and then you bake it, like you're removing more and more of the nutrients. You can also have this raw. When I did my raw vegan diet, I ate this raw and it was really delicious. Of course, I added in more like different seasonings and spices and nutritional yeast, kind of just to doctor it up a bit. But yes, you can have this raw in case you don't want the mushroom and walnut meat to lose any of the nutritional value. But I do want to make sure I say that it does still have a good amount of nutrients in it, just not as much if you were to eat it raw. Some people have asked if you can freeze it. Y'all, the way I tear this mushroom and walnut meat up, I have not even had a chance to freeze it. I typically would make some for the week and I would just eat that for the week, so it would be in the fridge. So I've never had a batch of mushroom and walnut meat in my fridge longer than maybe like 4 or 5 days. I imagine that you can freeze it, but I have not tried it, so just want to put that out there. Oh, I should have mentioned this with the walnuts. So I have seen recipes where people have used this with pecans. So say you don't like walnuts, maybe you want to do it with pecans, you can follow the exact same process, but with pecans. They've asked like, how do I use it? So I've used it in my vegan Philly cheesesteak wonton nachos. I've used it in a loaded barbecue baked stuffed sweet potato. I've used it in pasta. I've used it for tacos. I used it for a breakfast hash. I've seen where somebody has also used my mushroom and walnut meat recipe in lasagna, so you can do that. The one thing that I have not tried that I really want to try is making it into like burgers or like breakfast sausage patties. I haven't gotten there just yet, but those are just some of the ideas and ways that you can actually use the mushroom and walnut meat. Someone asks, how does it taste? So it tastes like whatever flavor you add to it. And that's why I say keep the first batch kind of mild, and then as you decide what you want to cook it with, then add in those flavors, because I've added like a Korean barbecue sauce to it and it absorbed the flavor from the Korean barbecue sauce plus the other seasonings that we use when we cook the batch. So it tastes like whatever you season it with, honestly. Somebody said, if I don't have a food processor, could I use a blender? I would say yes, like just use the blender. And some blenders have like a pulse function Or if they don't have a pulse function, maybe they have like just manual, I would just say like zoop, 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 so that it pulses, which is very similar to a food processor. I'll have the food processor that I use as well as the blender that I use linked in the description box as well. I would say that those are some of the high level questions that I've been asked since making this mushroom and walnut meat. I believe it's almost done in the oven. So let's check out this mushroom and walnut meat. This is just a container that I'm gonna store it in. And so now I'm about to use this to make some tacos. And so I'm just gonna put this in a smaller container, add some taco seasoning, maybe a little bit of veggie broth, and assemble my tacos. All right, so we are all done making the tacos. I'm so excited to eat these. One, because I know they already taste good. But when I tell y'all I eat mushroom and walnut meat like every week, so it's just like, I know, because I did that. But we're about to enjoy this. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it inspired you to make your own plant-based ground meat substitute. The full recipe is on my website. I will have it linked in the description box. As a reminder, this is just the base. So what you'll want to do when you are using it for tacos, for spaghetti, for burritos, for whatever, you'll want to add additional layers of flavor. But I'm about to enjoy my tacos. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Taco cheers! This is delicious. I'm probably about to make another taco because these are that good.